New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you. Ed Buck, a wealthy political donor in California, has been found guilty of all 9 counts in a case that accuses him of trading drugs for sex. Efforts that left at least 2 black men dead in his home within an 18-month period of each other in recent years. Buck, who is 66, could spend the rest of his life in prison when he is sentenced. The guilty verdict came on the 4th-year anniversary of Glamel Moore, one of Buck's victims. Moore, age 26, was found dead in Buck's West Hollywood home. Buck was accused of supplying Moore and Timothy Dean with drugs in exchange for sex. At least one other black man also overdosed in Buck's home, but that unidentified man survived. Moore's mother, who was suing Buck, stated that she was both happy and sad with the verdict. Quote, "Today is bittersweet. We got a victory today." He was arrested in September of 2019 after a third man overdosed in his home. He was charged with 1 felony count each of battery, causing serious injury, storing methamphetamines, and maintaining a drug house. A bail motion from the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office called Buck a violent, dangerous predator who mainly preys on men made vulnerable by addiction and homelessness. According to documents, Buck administered, quote, "a dangerously large dose of narcotics to his victims and is a predator with no regard for human life." After initially only facing a possible maximum sentence of 5 years and 8 months in state prison, Buck later had charges of running a drug den and paying people to travel for sex tacked onto existing charges for a total of 9 felony counts. If he is convicted, he will likely spend the rest of his life in prison. According to the Advocate, Buck has a, quote, "fetish for shooting drugs into black men he picks up off of the streets or on hookup sites." There are reportedly at least 10 other victims as well. More. At the time of Buck's arrest, California Congresswoman Karen Bass was incredulous that Buck had not been arrested and charged after Moore's fatal overdose back in 2017. The Los Angeles Times reported that at the time that Moore wrote in a journal a few months before he died that he was using drugs and, quote, "Ed Buck is the one to thank. He gave him a first injection of crystal meth." On July 4th, 23 days before Moore died, an escort reported Buck to authorities for drugging black men. However, nothing was immediately done. After Moore died, Buck's apartment was searched. Law enforcement allegedly found the following items in Buck's 2-bedroom apartment. Quote, 24 syringes with brown residue, 5 glass pipes with white residue, and burn marks, a plastic straw with possible white residue, clear plastic bags, and a white powdery residue, and a clear plastic bag with a, quote, "piece of crystal-like substance." Timothy Dean, age 55, died 18 months later of a drug overdose in Buck's home on January 7th of 2019. The Daily Beast reported at the time that Dean warned other people to stay away from Buck. He reportedly stated that, quote, "Don't go into the house because you might never come back." When Moore was found dead, Dean reportedly stated that Buck was, quote, "the devil," and that this might be it for Ed Buck. Not clear why Dean went to Buck's home the night he died. Not to be deterred, Buck just 1 month later was seen out in public with another black man. It was not immediately clear if that other black man was the same person who later survived an overdose in Buck's home. California Congresswoman Karen Bass stated, quote, "It is incomprehensible to me that it took a third black homosexual man to be attacked." Quote, "It is incomprehensible to me that it took a third black homosexual man to be attacked and almost died to finally dissolve this unconscionable apathy that has allowed Ed Buck, a racist predator, to roam free. Everyone knew that he preyed on young black men. 2 died in his apartment. The Inaction in response had a message that was loud and clear. Gay black lives obviously didn't matter." Jackie Lacey. New former Los Angeles County District Attorney Jackie Lacey who was a black woman, was criticized for not charging Buck earlier. Lacey, in turn, deflected the blame, choosing instead to point to mistakes she claimed were made by the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. Quote, they noticed around Mr. Moore's body that there was a red toolbox, and they wanted to search that toolbox for evidence. A coroner's investigator gave them information that turned out to be incorrect. He then cited, quote, an admissible search and seizure, which she stated presented a challenge. Days after Moore's death, his mother, Latasha Nixon, stated that she repeatedly asked to no avail for Lacey to do her job. Quote, I didn't ask for no special favors. I just asked for her to do her job, and that was it. Everything was in front of her. We tried to deliver ballots. They treated us like we were criminals. Jackie Lacey wouldn't let us in the office for nothing. Nixon ultimately filed a lawsuit against Buck and Lacey for, quote, violation of Glamel Moore's civil rights in a race-based refusal to prosecute Ed Buck, which ultimately resulted in the January 7, 2019 death of Timothy Dean under almost identical circumstances that should and could have been prevented. Lacey went on to lose her bid for re-election in November. Buck, a longtime political donor, has contributed at least tens of thousands of dollars over the years to the National Democrats, such as aforementioned Bass, Ted Lieu, Christine Sinema, California Governor Gavin Newsom, and then President candidate Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, according to campaign financial websites Open Secret. Buck was defended by Christopher Darden, the former Los Angeles prosecutor who famously was on the losing side of O.J. Simpson's acquittal for the double murder of his estranged wife and her male friend in 1994. You know, the main thing that I have to say about this is that at no point in time do I wish ill will or intentions onto another person or a group of people. And you have black men who were obviously down on their luck. They were going through drug issues, and they should have been taken to a rehabilitation center by ways of family and other people, or maybe by some other method, right, to try to alleviate that fix or that need directly out of their system so that they would be able to see the world and think logically versus going a illogical route in order to get the fix that they need, which means basically selling their bodies for said drugs. And you know, sometimes people have to learn a very hard lesson. And you know, sometimes with that lesson, it may have a very high cost, directly to it. Like I said, I'm sorry that these two black men had to end up losing their lives, and that the third one had to, in a sense, go through the exact same thing, but luckily he ended up surviving. Now, my one main question would be to the black gay community. What is it that you guys are specifically doing to protect yourselves from people like this that know specifically that you're down on your luck, that they can, in a sense, easily get to you, right, and use you for what it is that you have for their own selfish needs and gains? And what do you specifically have to say, right, to the public officials that, quote unquote, right, side with you in the way that you want to live your life, but yet turned a blind eye to what it is that Ed Buck was specifically doing? None of them, except for Karen Bass, stood up and said that, yo, Ed Buck needs to be arrested. She said that the very first time. She didn't wait the second, the third, or whatever other time. She said that the very first time. She's one of the only ones, to my knowledge, that actually spoke up for that community. But everybody else that you put in office, everybody else that you voted for, everybody else that you raised money for was completely silent on how it is that you are being treated. So from me, what I'm letting you know is, at the end of the day, no matter what lifestyle that you decide that you want to live, however it is that you want to do, you're still black at the end of the day. And that's clearly what the police department, that's clearly what the judicial system, that's clearly what a lot of people in the public, that's clearly what the news, and that's clearly what all of these other political officials showed you and stated to you throughout that course from 2017 to the last death that took place? I'm sorry, the last overdose that took place. So like I said before, y'all better figure out exactly where you are, because just simply stating that you are a part of, said community is not going to give you any type of initial protections. It's not. That's obviously been shown, because 2 black men had to die in order for all of this to finally take place, in order for all of this to finally transpire, in order for both of these families to actually get the justice that they deserve, and to finally get Ed Buck off of the streets and away from a lot of these black men who he specifically picks out. Because notice, at no point in time did it say that he was going after every other group of men out here. He wasn't doing that. He was specifically going after and targeting black men. Pay attention. Pay attention. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.